Hello, Stampers. Welcome to Learning with Friends. I am Pat Fairless from Fairless Stamp and Flair. And today we're going to have some fun with ink refills or re-inkers, however you call them, and tissue paper. I saw this technique, maybe a week or so ago, not long ago. I think it's probably been around forever. And I saw it on Sharon Armstrong's website, and it looked like fun. It's a little messy, but not too bad. But you know me, I'm not afraid of a little mess as long as the mess is worth it in the end. So Sharon is with TX Stampin' Sharon, and so I'm learning from her, and I wanted to share it with you. So let's flip the camera down and get started. So I thought what I would do is I'm gonna show you the card first. This is the card we're gonna make. And this is the technique as she demonstrated it. Now I played around a little bit and I thought, I want to try something a little different, and I'm calling it tie-dye. And after we do this one, I'm going to show you my version, which I'm calling tie-dye, and it looks a little different. It's kind of fun. So, but let's do this one first. I think this one is the most straightforward. So we don't need a lot of supplies. We need tissue paper, and we need a piece of cardstock for our backing that we will wrap the tissue paper around. And we need some reinkers and water painters. So I have my reinkers here, and we are going to use, this card is made with Poppy Parade, Crumb Cake, and garden green. I'm going to see if I can lighten this up a little bit. I'd like to see with it a little bit lighter, and I may not brush it on as solid. And we're just going to kind of play a little bit. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to crunch this up into a ball. Now I use the side that's matte. The other side of my paper is shiny. I'm not sure if it matters in this particular technique, but I like to use the matte side. So let's just crinkle this up real good. I'm going to set it down for a minute, and then I am going to cover my piece of cardstock here with a glue stick. And I have Elmer's all-purpose glue stick. The cover comes off really hard. I should have loosened it before. There we go. Stampin' Up! No longer sells a glue stick. We used to, but we have it for a while, so I think I got this at Hobby Lobby. But we're just going to cover this piece of cardstock completely with the glue stick. Make sure you want to get the edges for sure. And if you got fuzz, just kind of pick it off. Of course I have fuzz. My neighbor's cat came to visit, and her little black hairs go everywhere. She likes to come visit me. Which is kind of cool, but I'm not crazy about the hair. So, all right, especially when it gets into my projects. But so now we've got glue on there, and I am going to take this, unwrap it carefully, and kind of like we did with faux silk, or we did faux silk, we did faux linen. I'm using up a lot of my old tissue paper. Now I got to figure out which is the shiny side. That's it. So I'm just going to pull this open a little bit. You want to leave the crinkles in, and we're just going to lay this over the cardstock and press it down and kind of rub to press it into the cardstock. And you can see if you get too big of a fold, just pull it, crease, just pick it up a little bit. It doesn't really matter. But you do want creases, because as we use our water painters and our reinkers, then that goes into these little crooks and crannies, and that's what makes it pretty. So let's get this all down. Now we can do one of two things. We can either trim it, or we can wrap it to the back. I am going to go ahead and wrap it. I've done it both ways, and both ways work fine. Just make sure if you trim that you do have your edges well adhered. But we'll cut a little off the corner here just to make it a little easier to wrap. And I like to then switch to my Stamp and Seal and just run this along the edge. Okay, and then we can fold this over. You want to fold it, just kind of rub it with your finger so you're getting it nice and tight there on the edge. And I just work my way around. That's how I do it. You guys have probably all wrapped stuff and have your favorite way of doing it. And again, I just kind of rub in the direction to get it on there nice and tight. And we'll do the last side. Turn this over. And okay. Almost got it. Okay, so that is now ready for painting with our reinkers and our water painters. And I'm going to use some acrylic blocks for my, I guess we'll call it our paint palette or our ink palette. And I'm just, the colors I am using, like I said, are Poppy Parade, Crumb Cake, and Garden Green. So I'm just going to put a few drops on here. Don't need a lot. And the Garden Green. Garden Green, I'm going to go a little bit lighter, a little less ink maybe. We'll just start with 2. Because I want to try to get it a little bit lighter if I can. So, all right, so now we're going to take a water painter and let's use this bigger brush one because I'm just going to do some streaks on here. And let's start, we'll work from the top down. So I'm going to squeeze, it shows on here where to push. So I am going to push to get out some water. Just kind of mix it up a little bit. And start painting on here. Now, a smart thing to do, which I should have done, is grab a piece of paper towel. Because here is where we can get a little bit messy. So, all right. So now we're just going to brush this across here. And one thing I wanted to show you is you can make it so it's a solid color. You can make it so it's kind of like just streaks and leave a little more white if you want. I do think in some cases the white gives it a little bit more depth. Now you want to clean your water painter very well. Or you're going to, next color I do is Crumb Cake. So I'm going to see if I can squeeze as much of water through here and get as much of this red out as I can. I did grab a couple extra water painters in case I have trouble. This is probably the hardest part of the technique is getting the color out of your brush. A little bit's not going to hurt. So let me just set that aside so I don't get that where I don't want it. And we're going to bring in our Crumb Cake here. Add some water. And stir it up. Here's another one. I don't want it too dark. That's just a personal preference. So let's rub this on here. And you can see where I hit it and I get more. It is darker, right? Now if I wanted this darker, It is actually fairly light. If I wanted it darker, we can add another drop, and I might just go ahead and do that. I got a little more water than I needed, I think. So let's just drop another drop of ink on here and see if I can darken it up just a tad. There we go. And you can overlap these. Let's go ahead and blend them. You don't need to get your lines straight, just kind of scribble. We can all scribble. Staying in the lines is what's hard, right? Okay. Now I'm going to bring this up and see where the creases are. See how you can, it's darker where the creases are, and it makes a really nice, just kind of really interesting pattern. So now let's go ahead and see if I can get my crumb cake out of here. If I need another piece of paper towel. I have a whole roll of paper towel. This is one technique where you do want paper towels handy. So let me see how much of this I can get out of here before I squeeze too much. I won't have any water left in it, but I want to get the majority of the color out. Okay, one more good squeeze. Let's see if I can get. All right, I think that's okay. So let's go ahead and do the green. And here, this one I didn't put as much on. So I thought my card was a little on the dark side. So I kind of wanted to try to see what would happen, how it look if I lighten it up a little bit. That's the fun. You can always make it lighter or darker, but once you put it on, you can't really make it darker. Okay, this I kind of like. Yeah, this is a little lighter than my other card. Yeah. Okay, that was about the right amount. All right, and it is done. So let me get this out of the way so I don't stick my card in it. This is now a little on the wet side, so I'm just going to get a little of the excess off. But let's compare that to this one. Yeah, the green is just a little bit brighter. I don't know, which one do you like best? I think I like the brighter one. But now we're going to go ahead and put this on. What did I do with my snail? There we go. Or I should say stamp and seal. I still call this stuff snail. That kind of gives you a hint how long I've been doing this. Oh my goodness, my fingers are stuck to it. Can't get them off. Yeah, be careful. You don't want to. I don't want to tear the tissue paper. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and put this on our white mat. You do probably want to always, once you get it done, put it down on a mat of some coordinating color. I didn't get that quite as tight there, so I'm just going to push that with my finger a little bit. And now I can go ahead and add it to the cardstock, or the card base, the Poppy Parade. And I had the red at the top, so I'll just do it the same way. All right, now the little focal point here on the front, this is from the Sentimental Christmas Designer Series paper. And the dies that come with the bundle in this suite, they cut out these images and they cut out these bows. So I have already pre-cut those. This is really pretty paper. I think I might have shown it to you before. This is the one that $3 of every pack you purchase goes towards children's literacy by Stampin' Up or Stampin' Up. But let's just go ahead and I might as well finish this up and I will have one more card for my stash. I'm getting there. Okay, now kind of, where do I know? That's a pretty good spot. All right, and our card is done. And on the inside, I just matted it in crumb cake. It's one of my favorite traditional kinds of color combinations for Christmas cards is a red, crumb cake, and green. So that is my card. And the envelope, I used some of that same sentimental Christmas designer paper and just colored the flap. So that is basically the technique that I learned from Sharon Armstrong. Now I'm going to show you my twist on it. And I'm calling my twist tie-dye. So let's get some bigger piece of dry and bigger piece of paper towel. And for this one, I am using, this piece is about probably 9 by 9, 10 by 10. You won't need all this, but it's easier if it's bigger because it gives you something to hang on to. And here's my matte side, so this is where I'm going to put my ink. This one I am going to adhere to the cardstock after I color it with my reinkers. So I like to just grab it kind of in the center, and then we're going to turn this so it's sort of like into a cone kind of a shape. Take this and now twist it. All right. You can twist it tight. If you twist it too tight, you'll have more white. If you twist it very tightly, you'll have more white. If you twist it a little bit looser, the ink will get down inside better. But what we're going to do now is I'm going to take a different water painter. I'm just going to use our medium-sized water painter. And the colors I'm going to use here are good old pumpkin pie, daffodil delight, and lemon lime twist. And I have 3 more blocks. So we're going to do that part is exactly the same. I'm just going to put some drops of each. And again, don't need a lot. 3 or 4 drops probably at the most is fine. Again, if we need more, we can always add more, right? So I've got daffodil delight, pumpkin pie. I should probably put my reinkers in that order up here so I remember which is which. And I'm going to start at the point of this. And I am just going to mix in some water in my daffodil delight. And now I'm going to start dabbing here on the end. And I'm going to color maybe about 1 inch of it. You want this to get fairly wet because you want it to seep through into those cracks and crevices and nooks and crannies. So that's probably about 1 inch. And let's scribble and see if we can get most of that yellow out of there. Some colors, like yellow, cleans out pretty easy. Reds, oranges, greens, more difficult. So now I'm going to use my pumpkin pie, and I'm going to dab it along here, along my little pencil-shaped piece of tissue paper, wrapped up tissue paper. And just kind of saturate this pretty well. You will end up with white spots, but it kind of looks kind of cool. So I might need a little bit more here. Okay, well, let me clean that out. To clean, I'm squeezing and wiping on the paper towel so that water's coming out. And you can see that yellow cleaned out a lot easier than the pumpkin pie. But it's getting there. That's good. So I'm going to move these just out of my way so I don't stick my hand in it. And we've got our lemon lime twist left. Nice bright cherry green. And we are going to dab up here and get this saturated with lemon lime twist. You do want to protect your work surface because you can see it does spatter. Maybe be careful what you wear. Might not want to wear a white shirt when you're doing this. Okay. Just clean this off, get rid of the green. Move that out of my way. And I'm going to bring the yellow back just to add a little more yellow. You could probably save time by just getting a clean water painter and clean this off later. If you have trouble getting your water painters totally clean, because you can see even the water is colored in here, when you take this apart and you rinse out your tube, you can actually put some water in here and then blow in it, and that really gets it clean. But let me just go ahead and I'll just grab this other clean one. And I'm going to add just a little bit up here. Probably don't need it because this is going to be more than enough. But if you do what I found, then it gives you a little bit more option about where you might want to lay your paper on your card base, because what we're going to do is unravel this and then adhere it to a piece of cardstock like we did with the other one prior to putting the ink on. So let me just get a little bit in here. Now what you want to do, clean this a little bit. Put it in my bucket of water over here. I'm going to clean up some of this. Now what you want to do is kind of take this. Here's where you might get a little bit inky, but it's just ink. It comes off, and kind of squeeze. And that'll help transfer the color to those inside twisted layers. So you can kind of just sort of twist and squeeze. And then take this and set it aside until it's dry. It dries relatively fast, but you might want to keep it setting out for, I don't know, you might want to wait an hour. Just depends on how wet you got it, I guess. But I have one already that I made earlier today. And it's probably been setting out at least an hour. I did it before I did the video. And it's pretty dry. You might feel some dampness once we open it, but it'll be fine. So we're just going to open this up. And you can see there are white spots. That's good. That's expected. Let's just kind of open this up. And you want to be careful, especially if it is still damp, because tissue paper tears pretty easily. But voila. There is my tie-dye image. Is that not cool? That looks pretty retro, doesn't it? I thought so. So now you would take your, and I've got mine is 5 by 3 3/4. And you can kind of figure out where you want to place it on here. You've got lots of it. So you could, like, do I want more green, more color? I could come up in this corner. Do I want a little more white? I can come down here. You could just do smack in the middle. Wherever you want to put it, just keep the rest because you can use it for the inside. So now we will do the same thing. We'll take our glue stick and we will cover this with glue, just like we did with the other one. Make sure you got good glue on the edges. I know I've already said that, but that is important because you want to make sure it's stuck everywhere because that's what holds those crinkles in. So I think I'm going to pick this lower corner kind of down here. I may try to put this just sort of up near the top maybe so that it looks like it's spreading down. And then we're just going to take that and just push it down into the cardstock. And leave all those wrinkles in there. This one does not, like I showed you on the first one, when you paint it after it's glued down, it highlights the crevices more or the crinkles than this does. But I thought this looked really cool. So now I'm just going to trim it. I would leave like approximately an inch all the way around. And we will wrap it to the back side. And keep these extra pieces because like I said, you can decorate the inside with them. And I'll show you my card that I made. I actually even had a piece big enough left for the, if I might tape, for the envelope. So now I didn't trim this. I could have probably trimmed these corners. I didn't. Got in a hurry. If you forget, it's no big deal. It's tissue paper. It's thin and it rolls over pretty easy on the edges. The main thing you want to do is you just want to push so that you get a nice clean edge along here. That's the main thing you want to watch for. And like I said, you can take this and just, I've got a bonus piece of tissue paper from somewhere. If you want, I could just take this and trim right along that edge as well. Whichever way you prefer, it doesn't matter. Okay, one more side. I've got glue on that finger. Alright. Push this right over. Okay, and there we go. Kind of almost looks like a flower, doesn't it? Yeah. So let me show you the card. I did not want to cover that up because I thought it was so pretty, that tie dye. So I used the mini alphabet dies and foam sheets to cut out the happy birthday letters, and I just put them on there. I was originally going to do Halloween, but Halloween didn't fit. It was too long. I would have had it go this way, and I didn't want it to go that way. But here you can see on this one, compared to this one, I've got a less white, more color here, and here's more white. So everyone is going to look different, but aren't they cool? I don't know. I'd love to hear your comments, what you think. Here was one of my scraps I used to put on I just cut a strip of white and made this and added this to decorate the inside. And then I had enough left where I could I just put some adhesive glue stick on my flap. I don't know how well this will hold up in the ravages of the post office, but kind of ties it all into a nice piece of of stationery. Now I have one more card I'm going to show you. We're not going to make it. This one was made using the first technique. This is a fall card. I used some darker colors on here because I wanted to show you some differences with different colors. This was copper clay, Cajun craze, and mossy meadow. And I don't know, and I didn't dilute them a lot. I did dilute them, but I had a fair amount of ink. But they are just naturally darker colors. And I know we did something 2 or 3 weeks ago called faux leather. This particular copper clay one up here, I don't know how well it shows on the camera, but I gotta tell you, I think this looks more like leather than the faux leather technique looked like leather with these darker colors. Isn't that pretty? So that is my 3 cards. And let's just go ahead and bring them all back in here. Try to get them in. And I actually got 2 of these Christmas ones now. Yay. We like to have more Christmas. So let's go ahead and bring the camera back to me and we will wrap this up. All right. What do you think? Which one's your favorite? Do you have a favorite? I'd love to know. If you want to leave me a comment, that would be awesome. I hope you share it with your friends and encourage them to share it too. Always nice to learn something new, right? So thank you. I'd love to have you subscribe to my channel. If you have any questions about the techniques, please leave them in the comment and I will do my best to clarify and confirm and answer your questions, because sometimes, you know, once you've been practicing something, you think it's just obvious, but if you haven't seen it before, it might not be obvious to you. So please don't be afraid to ask me questions. That's what the learning is all about. A lot of times people will ask me questions and it will teach me something because they have something I've never thought about. So thank you. I'm so glad you joined. I hope you enjoyed it and we will see you next week. Next week, I'm going to be doing some gift packaging. I think that's what's in the plan. Now, this wasn't what was in the plan for today. This was planned for next week. But once I started playing with it, I'm like, oh no, I'm going to do this. This is fun. So we will see you next week. And until then, God bless. Have a great day, a great rest of your week. And we will see you soon. Bye-bye.